welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, it was a good day of trade as the Nifty managed to shut shop above that 18,100 mark, very close to that 18,150 mark, And what really supported sentiment was the rally in the IT pack, the metals basket, and the energy pack as well.
Yeah.
And what didn't do all that well was the FMCG and pharma pack. If you look at specific stocks, you had the likes of ONGC that was up somewhere around 3% or so. You have Tech Mahindra, HDFC Life, Hindalco, and Tata Steel ahead of its numbers. Even though profits are expected to drop somewhere around 90%, we are seeing a good traction coming in where the stock price is concerned. Among the top losers, you had the likes of Hero MotoCorp. That stocks fell somewhere around 2.5% on the back of disappointing set of April sales data. Sun Pharma, Ultratech Cement, all of these counters were in the red. Aside of that, if you look at Qs, the US FOMC meeting will be kicking off later tonight, and expectations are of a 25 basis point rate hike. This, mind you, may be the last rate hike by the Federal Reserve in this current rate hike cycle, after which they may signal a pause till the end of the year when Street is expecting a rate cut to come by. Yatin, let's talk about some of the stocks that you picked up in today's session.
So, clearly, Nandita, this time the railway stocks were in focus. We had most of the railway stocks moving very quickly in today's trade. In fact, year to date, if you look at RVNL, that stock is up nearly 73%. And, it's the best performing stock on Nifty 500. Today also, the stock gained nearly 16%. We also had Ircon, RITES, Indian Railway Finance Corporation, which is IRFC. A lot of these railway companies are having good traction on the back of good capex outlay, which has been laid by the government, and more importantly, the kind of order flows, it keeps on coming in for the railway stocks. So, clearly we have the railway stocks which are doing well and expected to do well as orders also pick up in the domestic market. Internationally also, if you talk to the managements, they have also said that a lot of African countries and Asian countries are working with them. So, that international order book is also expected to move up for these railway companies.
Right. Then let's talk about the specific stocks that we have on our list. Since Yatin, you were talking about railway stocks, the first stock on my list is RVNL. That stock was up 10% in today's session. It has got the Navratna status from the mini Navratna status that it enjoyed. Now, it is the 13th Navratna company, and in fact, when government gives a company a Navratna status, that means that the company may has higher autonomy when it comes to finances as well as spending. So it will be able to spend 1,000 crores on any project without government approval, right? But the fact is that the company is also diversifying into other segments aside of railways. It has bagged projects in metro, highways, construction. So that is something that may provide some comfort to its order book. In fact, in FY24 alone, the order book is expected to cross somewhere around 1 lakh crore rupees. And on the back of this, the stock has run up quite a bit. Over the last 6 months, it has given returns to the tune of 177%. But there is some cause for caution, given the fact that at the end of the day it is a Navratna company, and aside of HAL, you don't really have a lot of these Navratna companies doing all that great, right?
Correct.
And there's only that much profit that the company can make, because if it does make a lot of profit, the government will step in and say that, okay, fine, you need to give back to the shareholders, right? So that is one thing that I feel could limit the kind of upside that
one
we are
more thing
seeing
that Nandita, the management said that they're confident that they'll start the next financial year with the opening order book of 1 lakh crore. But the quantum of margin is also quite important, because the kind of volatility which is there in the global markets with respect to raw materials, with respect to employee costs and a lot of these overheads, the company really needs to protect their margins, especially for the international orders. And if they are able to really get good orders at a good margin, then sustainably the earnings will also move up. But once you have captured an order book for next 3 years, 4 years at the same margin level, probably then the earnings uptick or the tailwind really doesn't come. तो ये देखना होगा कि कैसे ये रेलवे स्टॉक्स परफॉर्म करते हैं और ऑर्डर बुक की मार्जिन प्रोफाइल किस हिसाब से ये लोग इम्प्रूव कर पाते हैं मीडियम टू शॉर्ट टर्म में.
और इसकी the company's JV with SCC has also managed to bag a irrigation project in in fact
that
it has emerged as the lowest bidder for an irrigation project in Rajasthan which is worth over 2200 crore rupees. Yatin, what's your first stock?
So earnings पे फोकस करते हैं और महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा फाइनेंस. देखिए ये स्टॉक है जहां मॉर्गन स्टैनली ओवरवेट है, टारगेट इनका है 310 रुपये प्रति शेयर. और जो M&M फाइनेंस की अर्निंग्स थी यहाँ हमने सॉलिड ग्रोथ देखी, एसेट क्वालिटी में भी अच्छी इंप्रूवमेंट हुई. इनफैक्ट स्टॉक जो है मार्च लो से लगभग 87% ऊपर है और बैंकेक्स जो बैंकिंग इंडेक्स है वो उससे 24% ऊपर है. तो बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त आउट परफॉर्मेंस ये स्टॉक ने दिखाया है. आज भी स्टॉक में 5-6% की तेज़ी थी और कंपनी का जो रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी है वो इंप्रूव होकर लगभग 15% तक पहुंचना चाहिए FY25 में. तो गुड अर्निंग्स, सैटिस्फैक्टरी परफॉर्मेंस यहाँ से देखा जाएगा क्योंकि ऑलरेडी स्टॉक मूव अप हो चुका है. कितना यहाँ से मूव अप होता है, लेकिन हाँ अच्छी क्वालिटी की अर्निंग्स है जिसके कारण आज भी स्टॉक में अच्छा ट्रैक्शन दिखा और ब्रोकरेज ने रिजल्ट्स को थम्स अप दिया.
Right, Yatin, I have one question with regards to M&M Financial. You know, when RBI raises rates, then the big hit that is faced is by NBFCs rather than banks, right? Because they don't have access to low-cost deposits. So even if RBI has paused on rate hikes and even if it pauses next policy as well, don't you think the high rates that are there, it will be there for some time? So don't you think that's a risk for NBFCs like M&M Financial?
It could be a risk. और यहाँ नंदिता बहुत सारी बैंक्स में हमने नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन देखा है एकदम पीक पे आ चुके हैं. तो एक्सपेक्टेशन तो एनालिस्ट की यही है कि यहाँ से नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन शुड पीक, कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स विल स्लाइटली राइज. बट M&M फाइनेंस की बात करें तो इनका पेरेंट जो महिंद्रा है उनके ब्रांड पे इनको काफ़ी सारे लो कॉस्ट फंड को एक्सेस है और ये NCD मार्केट से और रिटेल डिपॉजिट से भी अपना जो है काम चला रहे हैं. सो इट इज़ नॉट दैट दे आर कम्प्लीटली डिपेंडेंट ऑन बैंक्स और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन फॉर फंडिंग. इनका वेल डिवर्सिफाइड फंडिंग बुक है. तो प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं आना चाहिए, लेकिन हाँ जो नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन आप देख रहे हैं शायद 1-2 क्वार्टर्स में पीक आउट हो सकते हैं.
You know, the next stock on my list is Datamatics. Stock was up 20% in today's session. You know, great set of numbers. Revenues have topped 30%, and even profit has jumped quite a bit. And if you look at what the management has to say, it has said that it is in talks with a few companies for inorganic growth, and it is looking at making some acquisitions within the range of $25 to $50 million in the current fiscal. Now, if you look at the revenue growth trajectory, Q1 FY23, it had a revenue growth of 13.5%. In Q2, it was pretty much flattish, 14.5%. Then in Q3, it topped 20%, and in Q4, it has topped 30%, 33% revenue growth. So the revenue growth trajectory has been fairly, exemplary, so to say. But if you look at the stock, back in December 2020, it was somewhere around 100. Or thereabouts, but now it's a 400 rupee stock hitting a 52-week high. So that is one stock. The kind of commentary that has come in from the management looks like it is a great story, but the way it has run up, I think there is time. It's time to be a little cautious on this stock. Nevertheless, it rallied somewhere around 20% on the back of strong earnings and the kind of management commentary coming in.
So ये तो बात हुई डेटामेटिक्स की, लेकिन जो दूसरा स्टॉक अपने रिडार पे है वो है IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक. बहुत ही शानदार क्वार्टरली परफॉर्मेंस और इन जनरल ये टाइम बैंक्स और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के रिजल्ट्स बहुत अच्छे आए हैं. IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक की बात करें तो नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन इसके ऑल टाइम हाई पे आए हैं. नेट इंटरेस्ट इनकम में भी अच्छा खासा आपको तेज़ माहौल देखने को मिला है. एसेट क्वालिटी तो अच्छी है ही, लेकिन CLSA का मानना ये है कि यहाँ आप ख़रीदारी करके चलें IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक में 80 रुपये के टारगेट के साथ. और जो बिज़नेस मोमेंटम है और जो ट्रेडिशनल कंपनी की बुक थी, लेगेसी बुक थी, वहाँ से वो बाहर निकल के कंपनी बहुत बेहतरीन तरीके से ग्रोथ के लिए तैयार है और इसीलिए वो शायद 80 रुपये का टारगेट इस काउंटर पे दे रहे हैं. मैनेजमेंट ने जब बातचीत की तो गाइड भी किया कि यहाँ से अर्निंग्स इंप्रूवमेंट अच्छी होनी चाहिए और ओवरऑल जो एसेट क्वालिटी और जो क्रेडिट ग्रोथ साइकिल है वो भी काफ़ी अच्छी है बैंक के लिए. तो IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक ये स्टॉक रखिए अपने रडार पे.
Right. One last question to you, Yatin. I think, when you look at all of these private banks, Kotak Mahindra, ICICI, they have had a fairly good margin growth, right? But we have seen cost of deposits go up, cost of funds rather go up because deposit rates have come up from 3 to 4% to 7 to 8%. They are not going to go down anytime soon. Do you think that poses a risk to margins going forward?
So not really, Nandita. So when you hear the managements of Kotak Bank, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, they're not really worried about their net interest margins or cost of funds or demand. The only thing wherein this time there was some concern from the analyst community is the operating expenditure, which is called the OPEX. Now this will move up because बहुत सारी banks जो हैं exponentially अपनी branch network बढ़ा रही हैं, क्योंकि तेजी का समय है, penetration जहाँ जहाँ नहीं हुआ है वहाँ banks branch खोलना चाहती हैं. और अगर हम टियर 2-3 सिटीज़ में बात करें, विलेजेस में बात करें, जहाँ बैंकिंग नहीं है अभी व्यवस्था या ब्रांचेस का अभी एक्सपेंशन बाकी है, वहाँ कंपनियाँ अपनी ब्रांचेस लगाएंगी. ग्रोथ का कोई चैलेंज नहीं है, ये तो बहुत क्लियर है. सब मैनेजमेंट्स ने एक सुर में ये कहा है. नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन्स ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि 5-6% अनरियलिस्टिक होते हैं, सस्टेनेबल नहीं होते हैं, तो शायद 1-2 क्वार्टर में आपको पीक आउट होता हुआ दिखाई दे, लेकिन कोई ग्रोथ को लेकर चैलेंज नहीं है. सिर्फ एक प्रॉब्लम जो है या शायद एक अर्निंग्स को जो इम्पैक्ट आएगा शॉर्ट टर्म में, वो आएगा नई ब्रांच एडिशंस का, ओपेक्स का, डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन और डिजिटल जो खर्चा लगता है उसका. लेकिन हाँ, ये सब लॉन्ग टर्म मैनेजमेंट के विजन होते हैं जो ओवर द पीरियड इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए वेल्थ क्रिएट करते हैं.
Right. Well, those were the stocks that were on our list this afternoon. I think we've come to the end of closing bell with that. But stay tuned to Moneycontrol for all your other news and updates. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 with Morning Trade to take up all your stock-related queries. So don't forget to tune in. For now, it's a goodbye.
Sorry,
it's a goodbye from us.